everybody. This is Tom Randall from GoldenCare. Want to welcome you to the webinar here today. And again, I'm going to apologize. Still got my little cough that I'm hiding. If you were on yesterday, I tried not to cough in your ear too much, and I'll try to do that again. But there's my little disclaimer. But either way, I tell you what, I really want to tell you thank you so much for jumping back on today. And for those of you who weren't here yesterday, I do a really quick, just a real quick intro to what some of the things I talked about yesterday. So I hopefully won't bore you to tears if you were on yesterday's call. But first, housekeeping, we do have the slides that you'll get here, and we record this webinar too, so you don't have to take copious notes. Phone number is 800-842-7799 for GoldenCare. GoldenCareAgent.com is our website for agents. And we have a lot of tools that you'll see on your screen there. So I do want to welcome you and hope that you'll take the time to jump on some of those as well, because we've got some excited things today. I'm going to try to see if my computer will play along. Like always, the first step is always the toughest. There we go. Again, this is Tom Randall, National Marketing Director. I got George stepped in from yesterday because you don't have to look at my ugly mug. And since this is a new day, George's got the 5 o'clock shadow even. So my team gives me a hard time that I always cover it up, but you got to do what you got to do. Long story short, though, you guys, I've done this a long time. And like I said yesterday, if you weren't on, I got to get on my soapbox for a second. We have a great big responsibility as agents out there, and that's one of our jobs at GoldenCare, and we take it really seriously, is to try to get agents like you and help you and give you the tools you need to succeed out in the field, because we know what it's like in the trenches. We know it's not easy, and this business has gotten harder over the years, as I know, and there's really some great things happening in 2023, and we've got some things I'll be teasing you about today. But the deal is, we got a lot of gray hair in America. We got 90% of the people out there have never had a real conversation about long-term care or short-term care. They just don't understand what the implications are. They think Medicare covers it, or they think that it's going to be super easy to have their kids cover them, et cetera. And at the end of the day, with COVID, 61% of people out there are saying they'd rather die than go to a nursing home these days. We have a big responsibility to help people and show people that we have some very affordable and some great plans to help them plan ahead for themselves and their family, not only to protect their nest egg, but obviously to help them age with dignity and be able to go in there and have choices when it comes time for care. So that's our ultimate goal. We do know it's not a hobby, so we've got some great incentives as always. I talked yesterday about until the end of the year here, we do have our throw your name in the hat deal. We write any of our long-term care traditional plans for this one, Mutual of Omaha, Thrivent, or NGL. You're going to get your name in the hat for each applicant that you write, and you'll be able to have drawings that you'll earn $1,000 there or some other prizes. So some nice things to give you some incentive to go out and write. And if you were jumping on yesterday, just a real quick, if you thought you were drinking out of a fire hose yesterday, today you were really going to turn it on high, because we do have a lot of cool things to go through, and a lot of you will be looking at it a little bit shock and awe today, going, wow, a lot of moving parts to that stuff Tom went through, but hopefully it'll be enough that you'll take the next step and ask our team here. We've got the best team in the industry. I'm so proud of my marketing team here, that we've got a great team who can help walk you through and help you pivot around this pivot presentation as you get started, okay? So if you don't want to get into long-term care, we've got a referral program, knock your socks off, and you can go make some money just by telling people that they better plan ahead. And we've got a great team of specialists at GoldenCare who can do that for you as well. So that being said, remember the good old days, spend the money, get the mailers, 8% return, go out, sell everybody, everybody's happy, living the dream, right? That's why they call them the good old days. Then we know that things started to change. All of a sudden, we started getting legislation, and a company started getting some experience and tightening up their underwriting until we talked about yesterday. We got to the point where we are today, where it's just about half that pie. If you're going to go out and sell just traditional long-term care, you're going to have an uphill battle. You're going to have a lot of people who just don't qualify, unfortunately, and we end up where we just can't help them unless we learn to pivot. And we talked yesterday about a lot of people on more drugs, a lot of pre-diabetics, and the decline rates are high. Plus, we have a legacy block of business that has a lot of rate increase history, et cetera. So that's the reason, the method to our madness, why we wanted to take this pie chart and really start working harder as an agency to go out and help you guys in the field go out and change that pie piece to look a little bit more palatable, right? We want to be able to use our brains, use our sales tools, use our different products available, and go out there and try to get as many people helped as possible. We talked about the paradigm shift, right? Talked about the fact that In the old days, you could skip the meal altogether, and mailers weren't that expensive. You could just sell long-term care and walk away, even though you were hurting a lot of people. You couldn't get help. The numbers weren't as big and astounding as they are today, right? So then we started 10 or 15 years ago training brokers saying, you better be ready with some peripheral products out there. And if somebody doesn't qualify for that fantastic long-term care you talked about, at least you can come in with another product and hit them on the backside. And some people, unfortunately, like we talked about yesterday, thought, hey, now we're getting hit by the B squad, right? Now we're getting a product that's not as great as Tom said long-term care was the first time around. So what we want to do is use a tool like I'm going to show you today and try to feed everybody. And we have all the tools and all the products we need in the portfolio. These are just a few of our products in our perfect portfolio. I teased you yesterday, and I'll tease you again today, that 2023 is going to be a banner year for us. We've got a couple new products coming along here that are going to take pretty prominent spots on this red line, because we have some really cool things coming in these peripheral product areas next year, first quarter. So we'll fill you in about those as they come. Okay. And we talked about the fact that there's a lot of muscle in the plans and how we're going to take your different pie chart. We talked about this pie chart is going to be a lot different next year. Even in 2023, you're going to see a lot more of the peripheral products, maybe a little less of the traditional long-term care because of the underwriting, and maybe some of you'll write more hybrids, etc. So we don't worry about how we have this position. I'm just giving you a visual to show you that we have plans and things to go through and help you sell those other products. So that leads me into the pivot presentation itself today. Hopefully I didn't spend too much time there, 6-7 minutes. Now I'm going to go over to the actual consumer pivot presentation that you'll have access to if you're a GoldenCare agent. And with this presentation, if you've been around for a long time with GoldenCare, you know we've had the missing link, and that's why I left the chains in there. We had the missing link presentation that my brother Mark and our team here put together years and years ago that sold millions and millions and millions of dollars of long-term care. And that was just a presentation based totally on long-term care. And now with the pivot presentation, I took that a step further, and my team and I decided to put it together to have one presentation that you can go out and do a bang-up job of presenting all of our different products. And you'll see these little ABCD cubes coming in handy as we get into this presentation, because right when you start it out, it starts out just with a little slight warm-up. You're obviously going to do your regular warm-up as well. A lot of agents are going to want to put a slide in there showing their family, etc. But basically, in a nutshell, what we're doing here is just talking about some of the stats we're all familiar with, talking about Medicare and Medicaid not paying. And obviously, I'm not going to go through the whole sales presentation today. I'm just going to show you how this presentation works. But I wanted to show you on this first slide, you're going to see a couple things. First thing you're going to see down here is a little paper, and I'm going to talk more about this later, but if you were to click on this paper, it's on just about every slide, if not every slide in this presentation. And anytime you want, one of the things we see is agents are doing more and more where they have licenses in multiple states. Most of you on this call probably do. A lot of you on this call, because of COVID, were forced to learn how to go out and write people over the internet doing a screen share. You can use this presentation in front of a client, or you can use it over the internet, of course. And one of the nice things, if you're doing over the internet, kudos out to some of my best writers out there on our career team, Mike Johnson and his team, who gave us some great insights on how to put this plan together. One of the big things they all talked about is the big thing when you're selling over the internet is there's some big advantages. Number one, you don't spend all your time traveling, hoping people show up, right? You're right there. You don't waste that time. Number two, if you do it right, you can get people to be much more relaxed, where they don't feel like, oh, I had to clean up my dining room and sit somewhere we usually don't sit to have this agent in front of us talking. So you can have them sit back, sometimes have a glass of wine and talk to you as you discuss their future, right? So there's some big positives to selling over the internet. We have whole webinars on how to sell over the internet, so I won't go too deep into that today. But the key is, when you do sell over the internet, you want to have maybe a slide showing your face and showing who you are and your family and why you're in this business, so you get a little bit of that face-to-face. But what you don't see is you don't see the facial expressions a lot of times if you're not on camera with them. So what we want to make sure we do when we go on to do an internet sales, we want to have all of our resources available right away, and I show them to the clients actually. You'll learn the fact that right away here, I might say, now remember, any questions you have throughout here, let's have a conversation more than me just talking to you the whole day. At any time, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll let you know I've done this a long time. I'm a specialist in this industry, and I've got a whole page of resources here that I can go through. So you notice I clicked that little link and it brought me right to here. And at any time when I want to, I can go to this slide, and this will have links to a bunch of things I'll show you today, but all the different tools you might need to show. Somebody asked veterans questions, you've got them there, etc. So I'm going to come back to this page a couple times, but I wanted to make sure you knew how important it is to have access to this stuff right away on the sale and make people realize whatever question I throw at this guy, chances are he's got tax information. He's got whatever he needs to be able to answer my questions, so I'm feeling comfortable about it. Notice all I did is click that back arrow, and it brought me right back to whatever slide I was in the presentation. So you can feel comfortable jumping here anytime you want in the presentation if you want to. Okay, so you always have your backup. Secondly, you can see over here I've got some things that'll be changing. This underwriting tab will bring you to an underwriting site, or excuse me, this will bring you to the underwriting area of the presentation. Sorry, I was thinking I was jumping somewhere else down here. But this will bring you right to the underwriting if you wanted to, for some reason, to go right to the underwriting side of that, okay? But the key is, for now, most of the time you're not going to jump right there unless you already know the health of your client. That's what this is there for, to jump right to some of the health and skip some of the warm-up. Okay, and then we go to the next slide, and then we talk a little bit more on the warm-up, just some facts again. Some people don't like to do this. This is why we can jump right here to the health questions, but if you do need to have a time to talk about some other health fields, we just have them right here for you. Okay, and I won't take the time to read all those to you. You'll have access to this. The main thing I do is tell people my role as an agent. My role as a specialist is to really understand what longevity planning is, and we use the term longevity planning a lot instead of long-term care planning because we do have short-term care plans, etc. So we kind of tell people just longevity planning is just planning ahead so we can age with dignity. And we've researched the insurance companies and policies, and I've got all the best carriers out there. And really kind of what I'm trying to do is let you know, Bill and Judy, that my job here is to make sure you don't have to go do all the shopping. You know what it is on the internet. You get on there and you can go crazy with all the different options and you don't know for sure what you're reading. So one of my biggest jobs is being a specialist. Hopefully I'll earn your trust and you'll know that I can steer you in the right direction. Okay. And we do have a lot of products available. This screen obviously is totally not full of all the different products we have, but it is some of the top long-term care plans, top hybrid plans, and we have some other peripheral plans here as well. So just so you know, I do have access to all these different things. And this, for you guys on the call today, this is one of those things you're going to see. In 2023, this slide will change a lot because I have a couple of great products coming that'll probably take the place of or get pushed in here as well. But already you can tell, if you hover over here, you can see this will take us right out to the custom brochure, and this will take us to NGL's brochure. So if I wanted to, most of the time I won't because you're going to get sidetracked. But if you wanted to, you could go here and see brochures of these products. If you wanted to pivot right away and somebody bid on something that you just needed to do that, you can certainly do that, okay? So now I go to the next thing and I talk about the steps of the process. You guys all know this, what type of products you qualify for. And this talks a lot about starting the process, but the main key here is the biggest thing you want to tell people is that nowadays, unlike even 10 or 15 years ago, more so than what you buy these plans with your checkbook and how much you can afford, it's almost more now what your health will buy, right? It's really big into what your health is and what kind of plans we can offer you. And the good news is we have plans that we can offer just about anybody. So now down here, I still have my resources tab. Now you'll see something different. If I click on this little plan here, and you can do it before, some agents do this before, and I'm not going to click it here. I'm just going to open it because I already have it open. This is the LTC STC hybrid pre-screen. And again, this is something, some of you want to fill this out. It's fillable as a PDF. Some of you fill it out before the presentation. Some of you fill it out during the presentation. All I'm telling you now, you don't have to, because one of the reasons I built the hybrid plan, or the pivot plan, excuse me, is I built it so that you had the health questions right there in front of you and you didn't necessarily need to fill this form out. But I did want you to know it's available within the presentation itself, so you can jump to it if you'd like to. Okay, so that's there. Now I'm back in my presentation. If I were to click this, it would have opened up and downloaded. That's why I didn't waste the time clicking it. I just wanted to have it open ahead of time. But Just takes a second and it downloads for you. Again, most of you won't go there, but if you want to, it's available down here in the screen for you. Okay? Now I talk about, let's start the process, and I talk about the main thing about is the health. This is where we talked about the fact that you got to buy this with your health. So if you don't mind, the way I like to start my presentations is find out what kind of plan you can qualify for so I can give you the best recommendation. Is that okay? So first thing, remember to relax. Don't get panicky about your health conditions because I have a plan to fit just about everybody. You know what? Are you currently living in a nursing home? I don't think so because I'm tired of you in your house there. You're not in assisted living. You're not currently receiving home health care services, are you? Okay. And you know what activities of daily living are? Things like bathing, dressing, etc. You're not currently getting help with those, right? You're healthy enough. You don't have any ADL deficiencies, they're called. All right, great. So the good news is, even from there, I promise you, we have a plan that I have that's a great policy that can protect you. So even at the step we're at now. But what I'd like to do, if you don't mind, is dive in a little bit deeper and ask a little bit more pertinent health questions for you. Okay? Now, you as agents I'm talking to on the phone here, you as agents I'm talking to on the phone here, remember this is kind of a scary looking slide, right? Oh, look at all these bullet points and look at all this stuff down here. What I want to do first to realize, number one, all the slides in this presentation aren't this intense, okay? And secondly, in 2023, when I release the new tool that I'm going to show you in a second, we have the ability to get rid of a lot of this stuff down here, okay? So right now, that's what prompted us to build the tool I'm going to show you is that right now what we're doing is we're talking, these are the big knockout questions, right? These are the big questions like, if you have one of these, then we're not going to be able to get you most plans out there, right? And they're the biggies out there with AIDS, et cetera, dementia, multiple sclerosis, and this is where everybody starts panicking, right? About, well, this is why I hate these senior health products. I got to go to med school. Well, I'm going to tell you, we have some tools to make life easy for you, okay? So the first thing you're going to see down here is we have a link to an underwriting site. This is ltcunderwriter.com. I'm not going to go there today because I don't think we'll need that in a few weeks when we release this other product for you. But here's the mutual of underwriting. If I click here, it'll give me the full long-term care mutual of underwriting guide. You remember that if you sell mutual? That's the big 34 pager. So that's got all the details. If you really want to dive in, it's a fingertip away. You can punch that button. Then down here are some of our peripheral products we're going to talk about today and I talked about yesterday. The GTL home healthcare plan. And you can see here now, if you click on here, you can go to the underwriting for GTL. You can go to the underwriting for critical cash. You can go to the underwriting for recover cash, or you can go to the underwriter for Aetna's underwriting. And down below here, you can get the brochures if you wanted to. Okay, so trying to have everything right in your fingertips. Over here on the right, we have our flag that tells this is state availability. If I clicked on this flag, it would show me charts within this presentation where all these products are available. Okay, and I showed you that a little bit yesterday in that presentation. The reason I'm being lazy today and not showing you that is that pretty soon, and for those of you who are on this call, we'll make sure you get access to it. Pretty soon we're going to have a tool that basically, this isn't it. This is the Excel file I built first. That the tool that's going to be online is a little bit cooler looking than this, and it's a little bit stronger than this. But basically, in a nutshell, what we have here, and I'm just going to spend a couple minutes to show you. Here's all of our peripheral products all the way over to traditional long-term care. So as you're on the phone with somebody, I see I left Omniflex on here. This is a new plan we're doing. I can't tell you the carrier even, but it's going to be a great plan that's going to change this industry in my mind. But that's one of our new plans we're coming out with. But anyway, basically with this, all these questions down here, you can see need assistance with the ADLs. Remember, that was one. If somebody needs assistance right now with ADLs, we can't help them anywhere, right? If somebody has Alzheimer's, dementia, or cognitively impaired, we can't help them anywhere except you can see True Freedom is one of those plans we can help people, okay? And if I scroll down this list, it's all the questions you'd ever see on any of those home health care peripheral applications, from True Freedom, which takes everybody just about, all the way over to traditional long-term care. We don't get into long-term care nitty-gritty in this tool, but it's all those different tools that we have for all the different health categories. And one of the cool things here is if I go on here, I can do a drop down and I can say, okay, well, you use a cane, oh, you have some mobility issues? No problem at all. Is it a two-prong cane, three-prong cane, four-prong cane? No problem at all. Here it is. On this one, I can see right away, I've got several plans that can help you. Sometimes agents will show clients this screen. Sometimes you'll just do it in the background so you know right away which policy you'll be able to have with the four-prong cane. You can see Omniflex, Aetna's Home Health Care Plus, GTL Short-Term Care, and True Freedom are yeses. Critical Cash is a yes, but we got no's for our big short-term care plans out there. The nice thing about this is you can put in multiple conditions. You could put in oxygen, for example. You can either type it in or you can use the drop down, whichever one you want to do. I know you can barely see this, so I'll probably use the drop down so you can see it better. I'll go find oxygen on here. The one that we're doing, you guys, I'll just use oxygen. This will give several categories. So you can see oxygen due to respiratory disease, no is on the far right. Those are the bigger plans of short-term care. We do have Omniflex ability to have some coverage. Emphysema, you can see here again, True Freedom, GTL, Aetna, and Omniflex will be okay. The other ones won't. And if you have a nebulizer with oxygen, again, same kind of concept. So it's a real quick way. When we give the online version of this, again, it's going to look cooler than this. You're not going to need to know how to use Excel. It's going to be on the web. It'll be constantly updated. And you can do like 5 or 6 different filters. You can filter by product, and you can filter by state. So if you're talking to somebody in North Carolina, you type in North Carolina, you don't have to look at all these states. It'll immediately bring you just the plans that have a product in North Carolina, for example. So it's really going to be a cool plan. And I'll tell you what, the key with this is it'll summarize and show you all the different times that these products can be the perfect one to offer right while you're giving the pivot presentation. So it's going to make this life, as you can imagine, instead of going through here and feeling like, now I got to get a good handle on GTL's underwriting guide, GTL's critical cash underwriting guide, GTL short-term care. It's all right within that tool. So you can have a very, very good concept. Certainly you can go up, we'll still have access to this stuff. If you feel like this is a weird case that's pretty close and it looks like GTL will take it, you can click on there and you'll be able to go and see more details in their underwriting guide if you want to. But for the most part, you're going to use that online tool right during the presentation in the background or on the same screen and be able to really quickly steer your people in the right direction as you go. Okay. Now for the fire hose part of it. Remember the key with this pivot presentation, what did I tell you yesterday? GoldenCare still butters its bread with long-term care. GoldenCare still thinks, boy, if people are healthy enough, there's not anything better dollar for dollar leverage-wise than a true long-term care product in my mind. And we have whole webinars on hybrids versus long-term care and all these different concepts. There's a lot of great products for you with hybrids and with long-term care, traditional, etc. But our goal is to see, will we be able to sell more long-term care and not be disappointed with underwriting by going through this pivot presentation? And if they do have one of these conditions, let's say you talk right away and somebody says, boy, I've got AIDS or I've got dementia, it's going to limit you quite a bit right away, right? If I have Parkinson's disease, I'm limited to what I can do. So in some cases, if it's worst case scenario where somebody says, boy, you know, I've got chronic liver disease that's really at the end, and I've got some dementia that's starting, you're talking an older person. The nice part before where you said, I'm not going to have a meeting with this person, now you could pivot right now to our True Freedom plan and say, you know what, remember True Freedom? There's no underwriting. So I could go right away, and before I do, I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm going to escape out of this, and I'm going to show you right down here. It shows you these different things that we have here, and you can see the A block over here. See the little A block? That jumps to the Aetna Recovery Care Short-Term Care, or GTL Short-Term Care. And we have GTL's Critical Cash if you go to B, and if you click C, it goes to the Short-Term Home Care. And if you go to D, it jumps to the True Freedom Home Care. And all these other things are labeled. All I'm showing you that is in page view. I have little hints for you. I don't have a script for this because a lot of agents sell differently, but I do have the keys to what these things jump to. You probably don't need them, but if you ever needed to look, you can look in the notes section. Most of the time, you're going to play around this before you get with the client, and you'll know right away. A health is not, long-term care is the best case, but if you need to go one step down, it's A, then B, then C, then D. Okay? So in this case, if somebody really had some sickness, I can click D right away, and it's going to bring me right to the True Freedom part of my presentation. Okay, so that's why we call it a pivot presentation. I can use the InstaPivot underwriting tool to find out which one to go to. I can come here and I can click on here and immediately know where to go in the sales presentation. And you'll see, I'm not going to read this to you, so be ready to hold on to your hat. You can see True Freedom now, and it walks you through the entire presentation showing how great True Freedom is. Why? Because I know the person I'm talking to is not healthy enough to get anything else, so I know for sure this is a pretty good spot to be in, right? And again, I talked about yesterday, True Freedom's a great plan. So even people who are healthier sometimes might go here, but if you do have the health reasons, this is a great place to pivot to be able to help somebody with this prepaid home care. If you're not familiar with it, we have training all over the place for it. Okay. Now, as I get towards the end, you can see a couple new things. I can go to the e-app at any time, and I can go to the True Freedom brochure down here with this logo, so you can hover over them and see where I'm going. And I could go all the way through here, and it goes all the way to frequently asked questions. That's why I had to jump to the e-app. If you didn't want to go through frequently asked questions, you can jump ahead. This is the key thing you're going to remember when you do the pivot presentation, you guys. Remember, whenever you see let's design a personal plan for you, that means you're going to want to go to the resources page or to the e-app or go back to the health area, but you don't want to go further because then it's going to show, and I probably am going to show you here, it'll go to some other product or something, and that'll be confusing for your client. So when you get to the personalized plan, whatever plan you're in, then that's your key to say make a decision. Push the e-app, push the resources tab, or if I wanted to, I could go right back to health. And notice when I went over to True Freedom, hopefully your computers are keeping up, this heart is here anytime, where if I realize I'm on the wrong track and we start thinking, no, I think I'm healthier than you thought, or I want to pivot back, I could click to any of the other products, or I could go right back to my health area. Okay, so that's the power of a pivot presentation. Okay, so let's say that the person isn't as sick as we wanted them to be, or hopefully not as sick as we don't want them to be, right? So let's say they get through this one pretty easy, and most people will. You know from doing this if you've been in the field, these are pretty big issues. Okay, and most people get through this one, and then we say, you know what, appreciate that. Again, this is my best way to really help you, so be as honest as you can. And let me ask you a couple more questions about your health. And again, because you have our InstaPivot underwriting tool, you don't have to go to med school, right? You have these different conditions. You can go click in and see what kind of products will be okay for you. So memory loss, mild cognitive, organic brain syndrome, all the biggies. These are, again, fairly big knockouts. There's oxygen use, so you know sometimes if they're on oxygen, they're not going to be able to get the Aetna short-term care, for example, or GTL short-term care. How do I know that? Because the tool I just showed you, I clicked in oxygen, right? So if they say, yeah, I do oxygen for my CPAP or my nebulizer, you can go back and check and see where they fit. Same thing if they have some chronic bronchitis, etc., diabetics, you can go right to that tool and see where to go. Or you can go to these underwriting tools down here if you want more specifics. Okay? So again, don't overcomplicate it. This is still mellow. I'm having a conversation with people. If you have any issues like strokes or anything like that, if they do, then you use our InstaPivot tool that I showed you, and you go down here and say, you know, they're better than the True Freedom. They're not that sick, but they do have some conditions that I looked at my Insta tool and realized that they're still got a lot of issues where oxygen use, I can't get anything but some of these other products. And again, this will change when we get some of our new products in there. But for now, maybe I'll go to C. And I'll say, you know what, how about this GTL home healthcare plan? Remember, this one has really easy underwriting. If you remember yesterday, it was 3 knockouts only. So I can get almost anybody this GTL short-term care plan in the states that it's available. Okay. Same thing here. I can jump back to health. I can jump to other products. And here I have a little movie screen. If I click on that movie screen, that's going to show me right to here. I think I cheated and brought it up ahead of time. That's going to bring me right to this GTL short-term home care that I can go in and show them a little 3-minute video, 3 minutes, 19-second video if I wanted to. And you can have that extra tool to help make your life easier in the field. Okay. Every agent going to use it? Nope. Some might. And it's there for you if you want to. So that's the little movie camera. Okay, still have my resources tab available, don't I? Now I'm going to go through here, and I could go through the whole GTL plan. Okay, and I'm going to do this really fast. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, so your screens are going to be behind. Don't panic. I'm just showing you that I'm getting to the end because I want you to see all the riders. And then what do I see here? Let's design a personalized plan for you. What does that mean? That means I got to pivot. I don't want to keep going or it's going to confuse the client. So now I'm going to go to my resources tab, find an application, or I can go right here to the GTL Home Healthcare e-app. And here, GTL is one of those carriers that will require your login, right? I can only go so far, but if you want to go to the e-app site, it'll ask you for your GTL login. So you'll need to have that ahead of time, okay? Then we can go right back to health questions. We can go to any other products we wanted to. Just showing you how easy this is to get back and forth in this product, right? Piece of cake. Always you can get back to the health questions. Then we talked about the fact that you're looking pretty good so far. I'm kind of feeling like maybe we can get all the way through to long-term care. Have you been hospitalized in the last 5 years? You guys taking some drugs and meds? Now, based on your experience and based on our underwriting guide and some of the other tools we have, you can decide, you know what, this person probably is going to be iffy for long-term care. This might be a better opportunity for either critical cash, which I can kick here and go through the critical cash presentation, or I can go to the short-term care. And again, this is the one I promise you, I got a product that's going to fit so nice in here in 2023, first quarter. That's going to be a really nice option for you. That's an Omniflex plan we talked about. But for now, I just wanted to show you what's available today, the GTL Recover Cash or Aetna, okay? Right now, I could push to either one of these if I know for sure which one I'm going to go to as an agent, but I did put in an extra step. Oops, excuse me. I did that wrong. My mistake. I can click on either one of these right away, and there was the state availability where I'd know which one I'm going to go to. So if I wanted to, I could go click on GTL right away and not go through the needs part of it. Okay, so that's what I was trying to say, my bad. This one goes right into GTL specifically, okay? And if I wanted to go through the needs area, I can go back and click on this one. And if I wanted to go through the short-term care needs, it's going to cover any one of these products. And this is more needs development, right? I'm going to talk about the facts. I'm going to talk about, boy, a lot of people have a lot of big, scary conditions, but remember the good news is you get better. And problem with getting better is it costs the money. Survival, the odds are high, but it brings expenses, right? Again, I'm not going through the sales presentation with you. I'm just walking you through what's available here right within this one presentation. Then we get to the product availability after the needs area, and you can see where either of these products are available. And again, this will change as we come up with new products to help you out, okay? So here you can see based on where I'm talking to my person, I can click here and go right to the GTL product, or I can go right to Aetna. Okay, so whichever one I want to click on, I can do that. If I clicked on the Aetna plan, then it'll walk through Aetna and give me the specifics of that product. Then I'll get to let's design a plan, and I can go to the Aetna's e-app where you got to log in, or I could go back if I wanted to, and I can go right back here to this plan. I can jump into Recover Cash if for some reason I wanted to pivot and go into Recover Cash. Okay, so all I'm trying to show you guys is all the different tools you need are there for you. And if somebody's healthy enough, our goal ultimately is getting into long-term care, right? So now I went back to the health questions. If I did that too fast, I'll do it again. I went back to my health questions and realized these people are actually healthy enough that I think long-term care is a great option. All I do then is go through my missing link presentation, right? And I tell you what, there's some great things in this missing link presentation. If you want to have rate stability slide, that's in there for you. You have the ability to click on here and actually see, I won't do it today, but you can click on there and see one of the suitability forms from long-term care for MOVE. You can see the chance of having a big rate increase are much less nowadays. Talks about long-term care again. We can get into costs here. This is one of the areas, if you click on here, it's going to send you right out to a cost calculator. And I'm just going to do the cheating ways because I think I have this open already. But if I go out here, remember I told you drink out of a fire hose, right? If I click on the cost, right away I can go, if I didn't do this ahead of time, and I can show people right online with just a click of a button. Here's the Genworth site. I know we sell mutual and we design mutual's long-term care plan, but I like to use Genworth just to show people that, hey, I'm showing you an outside thing to show you the costs. You could do future costs or daily costs. You guys are probably all familiar with this. You can go in here and play around with that, get it by state if you want. Okay, going back to my presentation. This just talks about average cost. Then I can go here and get specific if I want to. And I can go through again. The one thing I will show you is if you haven't sold long-term care for a while, or you haven't been around for a while, one reason I'd use this pivot presentation or our missing link presentation is for this slide alone. This is the missing link, and it's sold more long-term care than any other slide in the industry. And basically, in a nutshell, it just says, we all have our nest eggs, right? Whether it's a $50,000 nest egg, a $500,000 or $5 million nest egg, we work hard to build a nest egg. That's what we do. That's we're Americans, right? We work hard to try to build our little nest egg, build our security nest. And at the end of the day, you realize there's things that can happen that can hurt that, right? Maybe you have a fire or tornado. What do? We buy homeowners insurance to protect our house. Maybe we have a car accident. What do? We buy auto insurance to protect ourselves and protect our nest egg. What if we had a major heart attack or something that was a $10,000 plus medical insurance? You know what? We buy medical insurance. That's all I'm talking about now. When we say the missing link, we're talking about long-term care. That's the single biggest liability exposure that's unplanned that we have left in America today. And that's if something happens to you, God forbid, as you get older or you have an accident or something, that you need to have extended periods of care. That's why we say, why wouldn't you look at it? You know what? Chance of having a homeowner's 1 in 1,200. Chance of having a car accident 1 in 240. Chance of having a medical condition over 10,000 out of pockets 1 in 15. Long-term care, we talked about it. It's a coin flip. 50%, maybe 75% for couples for sure. You're going to have a long-term care situation. Okay, so at the end of the day, remember that's why this is a powerful presentation if somebody's healthy enough to get you through to long-term care as well. Okay, so that's why I have these different things here. I'm going to spend just a second on the resources page. Remember, at any time I can click that resources thing and I can get to this page. Okay, and there's lots of good things here. Here's that financial suitability form we talked about. We have a disclaimer form that I won't open today because of time. But I'll tell you what, great little suicide close. Somebody says, you know what, I just want to think about it. I don't want to buy long-term care now. Then I can go through and get a disclaimer form and say, you know, we live in a litigious society. Is it okay if I just have you sign something for my records to show that I at least offered it? Because it's that important. Most people are going to need some type of care. And boy, I tell you what, there's nothing else out there that really covers it besides some of the plans I have for you. So I would like to make sure I protect myself. Rate stability. We got too legit to quit. Some great articles about long-term care for you agents. Read through this behind the scenes when you get this presentation, and you'll see filial laws. Some of you are familiar with that. You can see information on filial laws. Medicaid spending by state, Medicaid spending by service. Somebody's a veteran and says, won't my veterans cover it? This is a huge document that covers everything you'd ever want to know about veterans benefits. So you have it all right there. The partnership program overview. We have the LTC underwriting site that will give you some things. You probably won't need that as much because we have our underwriting tool that we're coming out with, but this is another site that might help you. Life Happens. Tell you what, if you click on lifehappens.com, it's going to bring you to, I think I cheated and opened this up. Nice little site for you as an agent, at least, but for clients, you go out to this Life Happens site and they have nice little videos. It's not geared towards different products, and it just shows you some of the different things by why long-term care is important. So check that out, and there's nice videos and graphics throughout here that does a pretty good job for you. Okay, so all these things are just trying to do what? Increase the trust that your clients have in you and increase your ability to have access to whatever you need at the time of sale. Okay, there's that short-term home care video we talked about. There's a mutual cost of care site. There's Genworth cost of care site. Agent product and sales training videos brings us to our full training at GoldenCare, where you'll see training on all these different products and all these different concepts we talked about. And here's our regular agent website as well. These are instant links to go there. Will you do it during the client sales presentation every time? Nope. But if you need to, it's there. Then we go to the middle. We call this kind of the product area. And you can see our StratDecision comparison tool. Remember, if you're a GoldenCare agent, you get free access to StratDecision. We've got our quoting software downloads. We've got a mutual e-app. We've got Thrivent. We've got NGL's e-app. We've got all the GTL peripheral products all the way down to True Freedom. All the instant links to be able to immediately go and start writing business and protecting people right from this one presentation. You want to talk underwriting? Here's what we talked about before. Remember that one slide had links to some of these? These are the full underwriting guides for all these carriers. And again, this will change as we get into 2023 as well. And we'll have access, obviously, to our new Instant Pivot tool that we have in just a couple of weeks, should be ready for action. Okay. Tax, somebody brings up tax. If you're talking to anybody who's a business owner and S Corp, you better be digging here anyway. But remember, it's important nowadays to realize some of the premium savings via tax breaks, etc. So have all these available for you, whether it's business owners or individuals. We've got some great tools over here, calculators down here, the inflation concepts calculator. I think I have time to bore you with that. We have the critical cash bucket calculator is also here, and a Medicaid spend down calculator. Anything you'd ever want to do with Medicaid spend down is available at a click of a button. But the inflation critical cash, you guys are probably familiar with that. I opened them ahead of time. This is that critical cash product we have. Very simple to use. Click in, put in your state, click in the name, the age, what plan they want, whether it's A, B, or C. It's very easy to use. Put in your monthly benefits. Click on one insured, and it'll show you a nice little bucket to show you. Remember from my presentation yesterday, nice $432,000 bucket of money. And if any of these conditions happen, here's how much you can get paid. And it shows the premiums, et cetera, for that person. So you know exactly how much it's going to cost. If you have one insured or two insured just shows two buckets. Okay. If you don't want that one, we can go up here. Some of you like to know the flexibility that we have with our mutual plan. Remember, we have all the different inflation options. If you want a really quick calculator that shows automatically green, it's conditionally formatted. So if I'm out there against a $3,000 at 5% compounding, just for a simple example, and I put in $4,500 at 3% compounding, I could do multiple jumps if I wanted to, but either way, and it shows you that the plan B that I designed is break-even points out here at year 21. So if I'm looking at a 65-year-old, I can say 75, 85. Till you're 86 years old, this is a smarter plan for you because you're going to get a little bit more bump in your monthly benefit. Okay? You guys know that concept pretty easy, but I wanted to show it to you because the key is I want to make sure you realize all those tools are here for you. And again, we keep adding to this, and we'll be open for suggestions. If somebody says, hey, here's a great thing that would be great for your pivot, we'll listen to you and decide whether that's worth putting in our overall pivot presentation. Okay. So remember, whenever I click on this, wherever I was, I can click last slide and go right back to it, or I can end up going back to the health conditions or any one of the products at any time. These are always active, so I can go quickly to whatever I need to go to within the presentation. Okay. So that said, I'm going to go back. And I know that was drinking out of a fire hose. I know there's a lot of different things we were looking at in one presentation, but I did want to make sure you had it available for you. So you'll probably have lots of questions, but we've got a great team here at GoldenCare, and I'll have that final slide so you can call in if you'd like to have more explanations. I'm coming up on my 45-minute mark, so I'll finish up by telling you, number one, again, if you have January 4th and you don't mind looking at my ugly mug again and listening to me yap at you, we'd love to have you. January 4th is our annual updates webinar that we give, and I'll give you kind of an overview of what's going on in the industry, some of those plans like the Washington Trust Plan and the other states that are looking at those type of things. And then we'll show you some of the other things that are going on in the industry as well. So I'm excited for that myself. And just to make sure that you show up, we have some great little prizes here, a couple $300 gift cards that we'll have drawings for as well. Okay, so I'm starting to lose my voice, so it's probably good timing out. Again, wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you, if you're not with GoldenCare already, make sure you take that next step. Jump on our website at goldencareagent.com. Our number is up on the top there, 800-842-7799. Based on the email, easier for me to say, based on the email you signed in with, you'll be able to get the presentation and a link to the recording, et cetera, for today if it recorded okay. And that being said, I tell you what, again, I'm going to hit you with the soapbox one last time. This is so important for you guys to go out and help people and use the tools that we have. And I guarantee you 2023 is going to be a banner year for us because I am so excited. It takes a lot for me after 26 years here to get excited, but we have 2 or 3 products coming out that we've got to help give some insights to and help design. And we're so excited about the way these products are going to work in this industry that I think we're going to really change the industry and have people turning heads that didn't look at this type of product before. So I'm excited to get in and show you that. I'll keep you guys top of our list as you come to one of our webinars. And otherwise, that being said, check out all of our tools like our Strat Decision, et cetera, on the website. And with that, I'm going to tell you, thank you very much. I hope you all have a really blessed and Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you before then. And I hope you have a great New Year's, and hopefully you'll jump on that webinar right after the New Year if I don't talk to you. But hopefully somebody on my team will be talking to you before that because we've got some good things to talk about. So thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. This is Tom Randall from GoldenCare. Have a great day.
Check out our website, goldencareagent.com, or give us a call at 800-842-7799.